Operation Doorstop released about a month ago, and if you've never heard of this game, okay, well, first, calling it a game is actually giving it a little bit too much credit right now, if I'm being brutally honest. There's really not much in the base gameplay loop to keep people playing, since your average game is essentially a janky, bare-bones team deathmatch. Yes, there are objectives and squads and all that stuff that you'd expect to see in a quote-unquote tactical shooter, but OHD is nothing like the ARMAs or squads of the world, and being free really doesn't redeem it when the gameplay is just that bad. However, the idea behind this game is to provide communities the ability to build what they want, and through that we've seen things like the Star Wars mods where you can play as a type of knockoff Star Wars Battlefront, or even a Starship Troopers mod where you can build defenses and fight off bugs. This free modding platform is a really interesting concept, which is why every couple weeks I've been popping my head back in to see what's been going on in the world of OHD. This is how I stumbled upon this Ukrainian war modded server. Now, if you know me, I don't really like to get political. I just like to play video games and have fun playing those, since the real world is so damn crazy, we don't need to constantly inject that craziness into our hobbies and free time. But I couldn't help but take a look at what this server was doing and how they were portraying the war, since in the real world, this conflict is more than likely unfortunately going to lead to the most loss of life through combat since we've had since Korea or Vietnam. The Ukrainian war is such a serious historical tipping point in our lives, and as much crap as people have been giving me for playing games like Squad and making videos on them, which might include locations in Ukraine, Squad itself began development nearly 10 years ago, and not once have I ever pretended to recreate the actual war or battles within this war, since the idea of doing that just really leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Now that I've said that, here's the mod. First off, Operation Doorstop still hasn't added any form of mod support in-game, and the first time I joined the server, I was just staring at a trench, not able to do anything. When connecting, you don't actually auto-download server mods, and instead of giving you an error when trying to connect, it instead just connects you and freezes you in place. To make it worse, you also don't even know what mods are actually running on the server, since the game simply slaps on a Steam logo to denote the server is modded without actually listing which mods they are. It's actually kind of mind-blowing that a game which is based 100% on community mods was released without this mod support, and still a month later has zero improvements or quality of life updates in helping players play with mods. You know what? I'm actually going to go on record that it's actually completely unacceptable. I do not understand the decision to not include these. Anyways, I am a smart, capable, and independent person. So I went to the workshop and I simply guessed what mods I thought they had. All right, it's a Ukrainian war server, so we need to have the Ukrainian faction and we need to have the Wagner faction. So search for both of these, install the faction mods, and bam, I reconnected to the server and was good to go. Now, once joining the server, I was thrown onto the Ukrainian side and spawned into the base Operation Doorstop World War I map. This map is simply trenches surrounding a small town, and to be honest, it isn't that bad of a backdrop if you're trying to go and recreate the battles that are currently going on in the conflict, I guess. However, the gameplay is still just so bad. The combat is still just really janky, and I made myself play like an hour of this, but I just really didn't enjoy any of it. As you move, you feel like you're constantly floating around, the weapons just sound extremely weak, and the best part of the mod was honestly the Ukrainian uniforms with the armbands. Everything else just didn't even feel like we were doing anything other than wave spawning and smashing against the enemy with zero tactics or teamwork at all. I'm not gonna lie, it felt kind of weird, and the only reason this server was successful was because people just wanted to play in the current conflict. Now, there's also a Donbass map, and a little part of me thought that maybe, just maybe, the gameplay would feel better if the map was better. And I've got to report that unfortunately this was not the case. When I joined the server, this time it was half full with real players and the others were bots, and for whatever reason, there was no bot auto balance. Another big draw for Operation Doorstop was supposed to be that the AI would allow you to play full games without real people all the time. But I don't know if this particular server just didn't have the setting right or what, but the Wagner group was incredibly lopsided, and it was honestly just a turkey shoot. We couldn't even get out of spawn since the map looked like it allowed you to go around and flank, but it actually just ended in an invisible wall. Something I haven't seen in games in over a decade. Like, you know what would have worked here and would have been more visually appealing as a a way to block off players. I don't know, maybe one of these giant apartment complexes. I guess that's just the quality control you get when it's a free game with a free modding client and anyone can add whatever they want to their server. At this point, I thought this game was bad, but I was just focusing on the gameplay, and it didn't even occur to me it could get worse if I actually took a second to look at the weapon and kit selection. Without realizing it, I had actually played on the Ukrainian side every game because there's no team swap on this server, and the choices you get seemed kind of on par with what I would have expected. There's some AKs, RPKs, and a Foreign Legion Scar, which I thought was kind of unique. Nothing had optics, but I didn't think that was weird because it's just a modded game. But when I swapped to Wagner, I actually stopped and burst out laughing at their selection. Okay, dude, wait, scope, rifleman's got a scope, medics got an SMG and a scope, machine, I think that PKP has a scope. This has got to be a joke, dude. We seriously get an optic like this? Oh, come on, dude. Oh, man. Every weapon they get has an optic of some sort, including some really powerful long-range optics and even a hollow sight for close quarters. The weapons all have unique camos on them, and they all get suppressors, with even the medic getting a nice suppressed SMG. To make sure I wasn't actually just going crazy and imagining all this, I swapped back to look at Ukraine, and yep, confirmed, no optics. However, I will say the squad leader for the Ukrainian forces did have one, the inverted 1P29 scope. On top of all this, they even added tactical reloads for Wagner, while Ukraine gets the base mag swap. This is just laughable, and although I don't disagree that probably people are using things like this in Ukraine, this isn't the 2014 Maidan revolution, and the armed forces of Ukraine is one of the most capable militaries in Europe right now due to the absolutely insane amounts of foreign material injected into the country over the past year. On the other hand, Wagner is literally known as a prisoner conscript force. But I digress. I'm not here to argue geopolitics or discuss the current going-ons in the war. I just wanted to see what in the world was going on with this mod, so I'll stop with that, and here's my final thoughts. If you would like to play a game that, for whatever reason, gave you the weapons and equipment used in the Ukrainian war right now, you would actually be better off playing something like Arma 3, which has practically never-ending mods to choose from, and I'm sure you could find some that matched that exact conflict. Or perhaps you could even play Squad, since you'll get the Russian ground forces and can play around with BMP-2s, T-72s, and other weaponry. And if you would like to LARP as a Wagner member that has completely made up the weaponry you use so you can shoot at fictionally worse Ukrainian forces in a really janky team deathmatch mode, then yeah, you should play this. I don't know who that is appealing to, but there you go. This game is perfect for you. Operation Harsh Doorstop still has an incredibly long way to go to really being playable, and this mod is definitely not it. But what do you guys think? Is this mod tasteless? Is it too soon to create something like this to actually play? And a month after release, how are y'all feeling about Operation Harsh Doorstop as a whole? Let me know in the comments below, and if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. But that's it for me. Until next time, peace.